I'm so excited to speak with you today.
Thank you.
Congrats on the season of
Thank you so much.
90 Day. First of all, I just have to say, you are always serving up the style, the looks on this show.
Thank you.
How do you come up with all of these like fierce looks? I feel like that's like one of my favorite things to watch about you on the show.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like my style has evolved like since I was younger, and I just love wearing clothes that I feel comfortable and confident in. And then when it comes to my hair and makeup, it's the same way. I mean, I've been doing my own hair and makeup since high school, maybe even middle school. So I feel like I just love playing with my look. I love, trying on new outfits and styles and just wearing whatever I feel confident in.
And I saw on your Instagram you posted that you used to make your own wigs. Can you tell me how?
I did. Wait, I just posted that last night. That's so fast.
I'm keeping up with the 90 Day cast.
Yes, that's so fast.
Why? Can you tell me a little bit about that? I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, so I used to make my own. Well, I've been wearing wigs for about 10 years now, so it's been a while. And then when I first, I've always had this venture into fake hair. I've worn extensions before, I've worn weaves before. And when I first started wearing wigs, I actually was experimenting with making them. They're very expensive. So I was like, oh, maybe I could do this myself at like a cheaper price. And yeah, I started making my own wigs for a little bit. I don't do it anymore because it's very time consuming. Yeah. But if you need a wig, I know how to make it.
Oh my God, I love that. I do love wigs. I have like a whole closet of wigs and they're just on like these.
Do you really?
Yeah, it looks like kind of freaky because I just have them all laid out up there. But I do love a wig.
I love them.
Yeah, they're so fun.
They're so fun.
A new personality, like whenever you put one on.
New personality, and I feel like you can play with your look, but also keep your natural hair safe and protected. So I love them. They're the best.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this season we're following your relationship with Ziad. We've seen it's been a bit of a bumpy road. We saw you meet with some of his friends. What was it like for you watching that scene back?
It's been emotional watching the whole thing back, just because obviously we have a lot of ups and downs. And seeing, obviously, when I was meeting his friends, I didn't know everything that they were saying. So there were things that I saw in the scene that I didn't know was said, in the moment. It's been emotional, just like reliving the tough moments between us. But, we also have good moments, and that makes me happy to see as well. But yeah, it's been emotional.
Definitely. And I know that you talked a bit about, I know in the moment you weren't able to understand what some of the things he was saying and what his friends were saying. Was there anything that was said that like shocked you when you were watching that back?
I think like the comments about like my look and my appearance. I remember even when we left the scene, and off camera, I said to Ziad, I was like, oh my gosh, like that went so well. Like your friends really liked me. And like looking back, I'm like, oh, like I don't think they liked me that well. So, I feel like there were a lot of things that were said and they were a little, rightfully so because of their religion, but were a little, judgy on some things. And I think I didn't really notice until watching it back, like what they really thought about me.
Well, one thing that you had brought up in that scene and also in other scenes this season is that you felt like you were blindsided with how Ziad was acting because like you had asked him about how to dress when you arrived and he had told you one thing and then when you arrived he was acting a different way. Right. Why do you think that kind of change up happened with him?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. That's something I still ask myself, like, to this day, because, obviously I had been to Morocco before. I know the culture, I knew how to dress, but when I met Ziad, he kind of made me feel like all of that stuff didn't matter, and he told me, obviously I look a certain way, I dress a certain way. He saw that on social media and in our video chats, and he made me feel like I could go to Morocco the second time and be completely myself, and, that's why I was so excited to meet him, but I don't know why there was such a sudden like switch up like the second I mean, you saw it was the second I got off the plane, it was almost immediate. So, I mean, I don't know because I can't speak for him, but there was definitely a big change once I got there.
Do you think it would have been any different if there hadn't been the cameras rolling? Do you think maybe that contributed to it?
I don't know because Ziad was the same on and off camera. And so the same things he was saying to me on camera about my look and my appearance, it was the same thing that he was saying off of camera. And he just had this completely different, it's almost like Ziad online and Ziad in person were just two totally different people, whether the cameras were there or not.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him at all about what his reaction has been watching the season so far?
I've talked to him a little bit about it. He's not happy with our arguments, like watching those back, just because, they're very emotional and we both said, maybe not the nicest things to each other in the arguments. So he doesn't like watching that stuff back. He doesn't like watching the bad stuff.
No, I can understand. That would be difficult. I feel like until you like go through something like that, seeing it back on camera, it's something that like I feel like a lot of people don't understand what
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. And it brings up all those same emotions that you felt like while you were living it. So it's hard to watch that back.
Yes. Now, you've been saying that you've been nervous to tell him about your past this season. Did those feelings change for you once he changed up his stance when he arrived?
No. I mean, I was still nervous like the whole time, no matter how he was acting, just because, you know, there were things that I wanted to be open and vulnerable with him about. And, you know, that was hard for me. It was hard for me to tell him that and, you know, be open about my past with him. So, you know, even though he was acting a certain way, I wanted to tell him more about me and be vulnerable. And it was, you know, it was tough to do that. So I was always nervous.
Yeah. No, one thing I'm obsessed with is watching you and your sister together. Like, I feel like we need a whole spin-off with you and your sister.
Oh, I would love that. That would be so fun.
What has your sister's reaction been watching this season so far?
You know, she's been a little mad. She's very protective of me. So she doesn't like how Ziad has treated me in a lot of the scenes. But, you know, she's just that, like, protective sister who loves me so much. So anyone who she sees not being the kindest to me, you know, she's just going to be protective and not happy with them. So, yeah, she's not always happy with Ziad.
No, I get it. I mean, I have a sister, so I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
So speaking of, like, cast members, have any of the past cast members reached out to you? Have you reached out to anyone who's been on the show to like talk about what it's like to be a part of the 90-day world?
Yeah, I've actually talked to a bunch of people have actually reached out to me. I think everyone in this world is so, like, all of the cast in the 90-day universe are so kind and so supportive. I've talked, like, I could probably write a list of everyone I've talked to. I've talked to so many people and they're all so great. So
has there been anyone that you've really connected with?
You know, I really like, I mean, on my season, I really love Forrest. Me and him text all the time. He's super cute. I've also talked to Elise a bunch. She was on Hunt for Love.
Yes.
So she's really been great because, you know, she's been able to, like, kind of tell me what to expect and, you know, walk me through certain things. So she's been really great.
No, she's so nice.
Yeah, she's the best.
Now, speaking about how it came to be you being on the show, were you a fan of the series before you got casted, or how did this come to be?
Yeah, so I was a fan of 90 Day. I mean, I'm more familiar with the older seasons than any of the new ones. I'm like an OG 90 Day fan, so I've seen. Yeah, I've never seen her.
Because you need to watch her.
I've never seen her, but I love like Rebecca and Ziad.
Yes.
I think they're so cute. The other girl who went to Morocco, I think her name's Nicole.
Oh, yes.
Anyone who's
And
like
Azan.
has a Moroccan history,
Okay.
I feel like I'm a fan of. But yeah, I definitely was a fan of the franchise. More familiar with the older seasons. And yeah, when me and Ziad knew nothing about the show, and then when we applied, they wanted us on, and you know, it just seemed like a great opportunity. So
now I know that you talked a bit about your friendship with Forrest. We've been seeing him going through a lot this season.
Yeah.
What's it been like watching that? I feel like that's one storyline that a lot of fans are very invested in. What's going on with him and Sheena and his mom?
Yeah, it's been hard because me and Forrest have developed a friendship. I love him so much. I think he's so sweet. He's so cute. He deserves the world. But you know, seeing some of the issues that him and Sheena are running into is a little difficult to watch firsthand. Just because, you know, I never want anything bad to happen to him, and you know, he deserves the best. So it's been hard watching some of that.